want to talk to everybody about a situation I just had, and that situation is heartbreaking. I woke up a couple of nights ago, and I walk out of my room through the hallway, and a bat is flying in my hallway, screeching back and forth, back and forth. And of course, I'm like, okay, I need to catch this bat and get it outside, right? So I go get a butterfly net, and guess what? By the time I get back out into the hallway, it's gone. Now this is at like 2 a.m. Everybody in my house is asleep. I have 2 daughters and a son, and they were all asleep, as well as myself and my husband, my 2 dogs, my bird, my cat. Birds can't get rabies, but still. We're all asleep while this bat is flying around the house. And I go through the entire house in the dark because bats do not like light, obviously. And so I can't find it anywhere. It's not flying anywhere. It's not squeaking anywhere. And so I get flashlights later and I go through the house, and this happens for hours, but I can't locate the bat. And I just broke my favorite color on this palette. Awesome. Great news. And so I can't find the bat. I am very concerned because I got on my old pal Reddit, and as well, as Google research. It's a big no-no if you have bats in your house while you're sleeping. And so I shut all the kids' doors and my door, and then I attempted to sleep for a couple of hours. But I did not sleep. I just kept, waiting to see if I could hear it. And so the next morning, I look again. All day long I look, and then I'm just like, okay, maybe it got out the way that it got in. I don't see it anywhere. Nobody sees it anywhere. We don't hear it. And then it starts to get dark outside, and I'm in my office, and I hear it very loudly. So I grab my nets, and somehow it is in the basement, which is 2 floors down. And so I go in the basement, and I'm like climbing on the shelf, and I catch it. I'm telling my husband, like, help me so I don't fall, because I'm like teetering on stuff, like with a bat in the net. And so it's screaming at me with its little echolocation sounds, and then I put it in one of the big butterfly enclosures I have, because I raise caterpillars and set butterflies free. And so I just put the net in there. And then I call the State Department of Health, and they're very kind and helpful. They tell me that because it has been in the house while we were sleeping, and going all through the house, obviously, they tell me that it needs to be tested. At first they told me I can just set it free, don't kill it, which I would never do. But then they consulted and told me that it needed to be tested just in case I need the rabies prophylactics, which is this long ordeal. And in fact, my 3 animals are vaccinated, but all of my family members in the house would have to get it, which is fine. But if we don't have to, that would be great not to. I feel terrible, but upon my rabbit hole deep dives into rabies, it feels worth it. They say that the health department will be by to pick up the bat in the morning, which seems great. Okay, great. They're going to take care of it. I won't have to, worry about this and like cry about it and like manage it myself any longer. And so this whole nightmare will be over, right? So the next morning, all day long, nobody contacts me. I call back. They say, oh, has nobody contacted you? Well, here, call them. So I call the health department, and they say, we do not take bats. We do not pick up bats. And I say, okay. And so I call back the state lab or whatever, and they say, oh, well, we talked to them, and so we're just gonna have animal control pick it up. Indianapolis, Marion County Animal Control or whatever. I'm like, okay, great. All day goes by. The animal control doesn't come. They're supposed to contact me. I call the lab back. They're like, okay, we'll call them. She calls me again. She says she spoke to them and they were dispatched over an hour ago, and this was at 2. And so at 10 o'clock at night, I call her back and I say they didn't come. The poor bat is in a butterfly enclosure, terrified, I'm sure, just, you know, clinging to the net. And I feel terrible, and I'm telling her, like, we need to do something, like, I'll bring it in, like, what do we need to do here? And so she tells me that I can bring it into the state lab in the morning, and so that's today. I packaged the bat in its little Tupperware. I used garden gloves, which is probably not a good idea, but I just felt like, I don't know. And so I put it in the little Tupperware with breathing holes, and I took it this morning and I sign it in and I give it to them, and they're like, don't worry, we can humanely euthanize it, it'll be okay. And I'm very grateful, but also feeling very, very upset that it's suffered for 2 days because nobody came. So far in my story, the bat is in the lab and they're going to humanely euthanize it, and they're going to call me and tell me if it has rabies. And I don't like the idea of all this extra time, if it does have rabies, waiting to find out if I need to do something. Now, the state lab told me not to worry, it's not an emergency. You have up to 3 weeks before you need to get the vaccines. So hopefully that's not a problem, and hopefully nobody has rabies. And the sad thing is still that the bat is getting put down. So the moral of the story is, trust your intuition. If you feel like, you know, people aren't gonna be following through and you need to take charge of something, take charge of it, especially if it could result in the suffering of animals or your family. Based on this experience, along with some other recent experiences, I am going to not assume that anyone's gonna do what they say, but I hope that you have a better experience than me, and I now know exactly what to do. I've seen so many questions online. What do I do if a bat blah blah blah, if a bat is in my house while I'm sleeping, or if a bat is in my house while I'm not sleeping, or what do I do? What's the protocol? I'm gonna just like write an article about what you do if a bat's in your house, because I don't want any other bats to suffer like that, and nor people. And you can't kill bats, so anytime there's a bat in your house, don't kill it. Don't kill it, ever. And bats are very valuable to our ecosystem. We have a bat house outside. They eat mosquitoes. They're just very beneficial and great to have around outside. And they're very adorable and fun to watch flying around outside. You might wonder, how did a bat get in? Well, a bat can get in to anything that is as small as an eraser. We have windows in our attic where our cat was, I don't know, opening somewhat, and there was surely an opening the size of an eraser. So we have locked We have locked and sealed and chained those windows so that this doesn't happen again. It's not fair to any bat that would get into your house, just in case you have to do what I did. One good thing that came of this is that the lab told me that this has helped them write a protocol for what to do if an animal is suspected of transmitting rabies and is still alive. So I really hope to update you that I'm not at risk for rabies, but unfortunately this was delayed, and so I'll find out. They said I'll find out today, but they also said it could be early next week. So hopefully I'm not at risk for rabies and nobody else is. And if we are, then I'll update you on the rabies vaccines and how exciting that is. If you're still with me, one more thing is that even if you feel like you're just a person and what you're doing is not going to change anything, I have found evidence so many times that that's not true. So if you feel like something is not right, speak out about it. Speak out about it in a way that it can be shared. Promote it. Make sure that other people are aware. Even just this situation, maybe someone on here is looking for what to do if they're in a similar situation. And because I've had all the trial and error, someone else can benefit from way less stress and waiting and delays. So always let's support each other and try to speak up and try to do our best to make sure that all animals are loved and safe and don't have to be traumatized or suffer, even if they're at risk for transmitting a disease. Thanks for tuning in.